All right, so we're talking about the Truck Series at Darlington on Friday. As we've seen as of late, and certainly in this year for the Cup Series, for the Truck Series, we're seeing a lot of wrecks, a lot of people making mistakes, a lot of chalk plays end up being destroyed, regardless of where they're starting. And I think it does need to be a concern. I think it's something that you have to absolutely worry about entering this weekend's race at Darlington. Darlington is a very difficult track, and I mean, I'm kind of just stating things that you guys already know, but you very rarely, if ever, see people with little experience doing well at Darlington. The fact that the contest on Friday is 7,000 people makes it to where I think it is certainly more viable to possibly, get off the beaten path and feel more comfortable taking shots on lower owned drivers, especially because anybody can necessarily wreck here. When we look at the last two intermediate tracks, the fastest cars, the people in those races that should have won those races, have ended up being wrecked, have ended up being involved in accidents and stuff. And it's something that you absolutely have to really pay attention to. In terms of the drivers that we're having here, the 22 withdrew this weekend. We have Wallace, LaJoie, Chastain. In these, we have Byron in the 51. We have Kligerman in the 75. Obviously, just due to how it normally goes. But like Bubba being in the one car, gonna have the speed to be up there. You're gonna have, Byron in the 51, gonna have the speed to be up there. The fact that this race is only 147 laps, it's man, dude, it's a bit rough, man. The reason why I'm saying that is because it's less laps than normal, than what we're normally dealing with. And we are going to absolutely lose at least 50 of these to yellows. There's no way we run over 100 laps under green. So we are drastically losing fast laps. And laps led might end up being spread out between a lot of the guys competing for the win. And I think what we should be looking at there is the practice data. I understand that we have the track data. I understand that we have guys with experience, which feel free to pay attention to that and look at it like clearly, like Crafton's been there a lot, yada yada yada. But at this point, where I'm at, focusing on how volatile this race can potentially be, on focusing on where a lot of these drivers are coming from in terms of look, I mean, you can just go down the entry list and the DraftKings pool. Like, who has experience here that I would trust? Poole, Rhodes, Majeski, Crafton, Kligerman, Hill, Friesen, Byron. Okay, so we get those guys. Hocevar and Chastain have been there enough to be, all right, that's fine. Zane Smith, okay. Matt DiBenedetto, Infinger, Eckes, Ankrum. But really, after that, Johnny Sonner and Bubba Wallace, but that's literally half of the field not being trustworthy, not having, sure, Spencer Boyd's been here a lot, but he's not going to compete for the win. That's a play that you're playing based on attrition and stuff like that. So when I look at this race, I'm going to primarily focus on what the practice data shows me in terms of who's going to have speed. Secondly, I really do feel comfortable about possibly not being on the people that everybody's going to be playing. Outside of wrecks, outside of yellows, we're probably going to have a lot of lead changes in pit lane, specifically between the good drivers. Look, Bubba Wallace is going to be a top 3 driver. That's just how it's going to be. William Byron is probably the favorite to win this race, but you have Eckes, you have Sanchez, you have Rhodes, Majeski, all up there, all competing. I think they could all lead laps in this race. So who's the most appealing? Well, it's honestly Corey Heim. It's honestly Ty Majeski. It's honestly Zane Smith. Nick is 92. I like Nick at $9,200. Christian Eckes at 86. I'm probably just going to have a majority of Christian Eckes. Hocevar at $8,000. Like, if anything, Eckes and Hocevar, is LaJoie still on here? I just went blank. Hold on. I'm pretty sure they brought up the 77, but I don't think LaJoie. No, LaJoie is in the 7. My bad. So LaJoie's going to have a good car as well. So for me, it makes a lot of sense playing a lot of the 4K guys. Like, if you want to go 4K guys with Eckes, Hocevar, LaJoie, Kligerman, get up to whatever 10K guy you want. and then play a bunch of value ranges. That's how I feel I want to approach this race. I would much rather, because I don't think we're going to necessarily see a lot. I don't think we're going to see nearly any of the 10K guys really hit value. It's probably going to be the primary lap leader and whoever wins the race, if it's one of those guys. But there's a real chance Chastain, Byron, Zane Smith, even Majeski, like they're at like 4.7 to 4.9 value, and you're getting more value range and more value from the drivers in the 8K and 7K ranges. And so it makes far more sense to me to go that direction. Like De Benedetto at $7,900 makes a lot of sense. You know, when we look at the people who got involved in the wreck last weekend at Kansas, and, you know, sadly enough, that's mainly who I built around. But look, Ekis, Hocevar, Dean Thompson, and I know Dean isn't in, Dean, yeah, he isn't this, I forgot he was in the 5. Sorry, I had a break. Anyway, Dean Thompson, the 5, going to have speed, showing us speed each and every week, just as performed horrible, just unlucky. Texas, Kansas, Matt Benedetto, all these guys are going to have speed. All these guys are going to be up there competing. You know, being involved in a wreck is a real possibility this weekend at Darlington. And so, for me, approaching this race, looking at how I want to build lines, I really want to stay in the 8K range and in the 7K range with at least 4 of my drivers. And if I'm more comfortable, if I see place differential in the back of the field, maybe, hey, Timmy Hill messes up, qualifies poorly, and even Timmy Hill is mispriced. I think he's a little too cheap. We're used to seeing him at like 64, 65. Raja Caruth, the guy's an idiot, but he's 6K, going to have a decent car. Colby Howard, who has had, you know, more races here than some other guys who we've seen speed here, who has been fast. If you go back, not last year, but the year before, spun out, actually drove through the field, spun out, and didn't hit the wall somehow, some way, drove through the field again. Howard has shown incredible speed here. Dean Thompson is 6,300. Haley Diggin is 65. She's finally, getting through all the bad luck that she's had for the past 3 years here. So when I look at Darlington, a race that has a very high volatility chance for a lot of wrecks, a lot of restarts, not even big wrecks too, but people shoving each other into the wall out of 2. You know, restart catastrophes, which we've seen here before. I like the 8K range. I like the 8 and 7K range. I think that is primarily where I'm going to be building for this weekend. I don't think it's necessarily important to go through and look and be like, oh, this is the optimal lineup from this race. This is the optimal lineup for this race. Because we've had, a lot of variables, a lot of wrecks. You know, we've just had a lot of issues here at Darlington with the truck series. And so I'm a bit hesitant paying up for as many 10K guys as we normally do. If anything, there's a real chance we see 85, 90, 95 green flag laps in this race. And the person leading those is just going to be whoever happens to be out front. When we get the yellows right before the stages, you're going to have guys who are competing for stage points, are competing for the championship, staying out to get stage points. You got the Cup Series guys going in, to get, I foresee a lot of different lap leaders, and I would just rather play guys who are 8K who I need 40, 45, 48 points from than a 10K guy who I need, 50, 60 points from, And I think the value range is wide open. Anybody can wreck here. If you're starting DFL, I think you are certainly in line to survive. We just got to make sure your guard can get there. But, this is a race where I am not going to be shocked if I end up playing quite a lot of Young Motorsports, of Reum, of, if I play Brennan Poole, it's not going to shock me at all playing guys starting in the back of the field. So at least that's my takeaway. That's kind of where I'm at. I just kind of want to get through and survive Friday. And I think playing the AK guys is right there. Ekis is gonna compete for a win. He's had top 6 speed in every single race. Just has had bad luck. Dean Thompson, we got to keep playing him. I think you just have to. He's too cheap. He has speed. He's going to get a good finish here. He's been destroyed at Texas and Kansas. Just unfortunate, but you got to put that behind you. You got to keep playing Dean. He's going to be finishing well, and that's 2 really cheap guys that aren't even, in the 10K range. That aren't even, I'm not even talking about like Jake Garcia, practically no experience at a very difficult racetrack like this, but he's had speed as well. Like I'm honestly, my biggest hesitation is just playing guys in the 10K range, man. It really is. I like the 7K range this weekend. and Nick in the 2. I like Nick. I like Corey. There's just I want to play the 8K range. That's kind of where I'm at. So anyway, that's my quick preview for the Truck Series. Just stick in the 8K range, boys. I don't think we have to go crazy and chase the 10K guys, man. I really don't. I don't think we have to.